to another live session with Firdous using the Paintology drawing app from the Google Play Store. So it's free to all users, and the tutorials you'll find there are all free. The app has been designed to make you a good artist, and it is not to make you such digital artists, because that's a different thing. It's actually based on traditional methods of drawing and painting, far easier, but the rewards are far greater than just doing digital art with lots of tools. So let's dive in and go straight ahead. So this is the drawing. I thought I'd be different. We're going to do this mountain scene. It was one of Bob Ross's favorite subjects, isn't it? These mountains, and he was extremely good at it with wet on wet technique they used. And we've come a long way since then, and we now got digital, and we're going to make a digital, or you're going to make a painting of this on our phone. So in case you don't know, this is the way I use. This is the phone I'm using, and this is a cat I've drawn with my finger, and you can do the same as well. So I hope you have the app installed and the phone and ready to go in this tutorial. So let's dive in and go ahead. So we have this trace bar at the top, and by the way, this tutorial, if you want that, is also available on the Google. It's also available from the app. Once you go to the app, you will see a tutorial section, and there you'll find hundreds of tutorials, and including this, and you'll be able to see the tutorial there. But I want to tell you that the Paintology app is so versatile. You can download this image, and that's what I've done. I've basically downloaded the image, and you can see that the image is just something I found online, and it's in the trace mode, which means that you can really trace across it. So this lower half is my drawing canvas. I say the lower half. You'll see what I mean on the basis of the color picker. So if I go here and I'm here, and let's take this brush, you can see that's my color here. And then I can pick the colors here. You can see it. So it's basically in trace mode. And the reason for having this midway position is so if you use your color picker, you'll pick the color picker. Notice the color box here has changed to the orange. So if you pick the color picker again, let's clear that, the previous story. And let's see the color picker has changed again. See the dark color picker has changed. So this half belongs to the reference image, and you can select color pickers, and that's the way we use the color pickers and transfer it to our drawing canvas. So digital is a lot more versatile than the traditional trace paper you're thinking of. It has far more capabilities, and it is one of the tools of drawing, and it improves your drawing tremendously in leaps and bounds. That's all I can tell you. You want to go from leap forward in terms of drawing, you do this method of drawing. In addition to this, I'm going to show you a method which is called block coloring. And the block coloring basically involves selecting selecting blocks of the image of the similar color, right? And then just keep applying these colors to the to your canvas. Yeah, so I'll show you. And in case you don't know, I would suggest you look at some of the videos that's already been done. It's called block coloring. Anyone can do this. You don't need drawing experience, any kind. If you can trace, follow a line from it, like this line, for example, you can follow that, you can draw. You can make this drawing and it will be a nice drawing. So, block coloring means picking out the tones on the reference image and applying that. So you can you can think of the mountain as a one block, right? So you can just simply pick a color here, right? Select a big brush and just fill this color with, change the brush side, right? And then you can pick the, say, the orange color for this, okay? And then now you can see there's a black color, and these intermediate colors, so we just put that down. And here we've done a block coloring. That is the basis of block coloring, made the first, but it not, doesn't look anything like it, although some people might be able to tell it is, right? But we obviously don't use such broad brushes, and we will do something like this. I'll show you. Let's take it down and apply this color. See? Apply this, and then let's take the mountain scene down, apply that mountain scene color here, and you'll see what I mean. Just do a bit like that initially. Orange. You can see what's going on here. See, I've added some details. Yeah, and these details over time will build up. And this brings me to a post that I did earlier. And the post is called the drawing process. There's always a process to a drawing, right? And majority of people will give up because they have no clue what the drawing process is. Because on YouTube or online they see excellent drawings that are complete. They never really study the drawing process, and they think that person must be a genius, highly talented, or anything. I mean, if I were to do this drawing, I would do this block coloring, continuously build up and up and up and up until I get to the final goal, which I think is satisfactory. That essentially is the drawing process. And how do you go from, let's say the drawing process is 10 steps. How do you go from, you know, through each step? Well, that is the beauty of drawing, which not many people fully understand or appreciate, is if you're in step 6, you will have guidelines to go to step 7, 8, depending on how skillful you are. And you go to step 8, then you have a guidelines to go to above that, step 9, because you'll see the each stage of the drawing, the improvements being made. And that is key component to drawing, painting, because the artist can see with his techniques and skillful use of tools to get to the next level, and then the next level, then the next level after that. And then that level can only be done if you've done the previous level. Okay, so it probably isn't intuitive enough until you do it. And most people will give up because they don't know how to go through each level. They come to one level and say, that's it, my mind is blank, I don't know what to do. Well, there are other artists that can take it to the next level and the level after and the level. What is that? What is that technique? What are they doing? What is different to what you're doing? This is fundamentally what you should keep in your mind, and many people will be in stage 0 or 1, step 0 and 1, and that's it. They'll call it quits, you know. So if you do call it quits, don't blame it on exceptional talent, which I continuously read on Quora platform. It is based on the fact that you have you have decided not to pursue this anymore based on your own judgment, not on the judgment of others. Just that you decided that you don't want to pursue it anymore. And you should be honest about it, because if you're not, you're going to apply that same philosophy in all kinds of skills and therefore never able to excel in anything. So, okay, so let's go ahead and what are we going to do? Let's start again. So let's save this. Okay. So I think you know how to use this. So I'm going to use my fingers, as I've said. Let's get in my paintings and we'll pick out the trace drawing that we've originally installed. And we can go and say, well, we can start off with a large brush. Yeah, reasonable brush, 11%. Let's see what that looks like. That's probably reasonable. And that would cover some of the clouds because the clouds are, they're about that width, isn't it? So, and then now we want to select a brush. I've enjoyed the charcoal haze dark. I've done the land patch, and I'm wondering what I'll do. You could also use different brushes, but remember, brushes are not the final effects that you're creating. You're creating far more effects through your techniques, not the brushes alone. But most people mistake brushes are the ones that's going to give you textures, and that's two-dimensional, one-dimensional thinking. If you want to create really drawings with volume, value, shapes, form, and tones, then you really need to create your own texture and ignore applying every tool for every little texture. So let's head for chalk. Okay, you can see chalk has size, density, and hardness. I'm not going to show you the density and hardness just yet. We're just going to continuously set it 100% continuously work on that. So now we've got the brush size and the chalk. Let's just go ahead. And this is, I'm going to start from the top left. Pick a color. I think I can go a little bit higher. Brush size. Pick a color and just simply follow the color. Pick a color picker, and it picks up the color picker. I can increase it a little bit, 20% here. Just pick the colors, and you're picking out the color tones of that blocked region that you're blocking. Yeah, block coloring. I actually came across this technique while I was in the hospital. Nothing serious, while I was getting ready for an operation, but so I had nothing better to do, so I thought make this, and it was quite fun actually. I was quite impressed by what it could do. So you can see color picker, select the region. You see how I'm seeing the region which needs that color, and then simply coloring it. That's all. Yeah, I'm picking the region. No drawing experience required. And don't worry, don't think about matching exactly. You're not there yet. This is simply the beginning, step one, step two process of maybe 10 or 20 steps. Oh, yeah, I have a habit of doing that. Sorry about that. Okay. So the mountain region, we probably have to reduce the line size, yeah? But let's finish the sky. Beautiful colors, aren't they? Very vibrant colors. Fingers, using just your fingers. Lovely colors. Notice I'm picking the color picker even there because it might have changed. So now, as I said, I'm going to do the mountains, take it down so it's more manageable, right? And go quickly, rapidly. That actually helps your drawing techniques because it improves your muscle coordination very quickly. You're not focused on one point, you're just using the reference image for work. If people tell you that you're using outline or reference image, it's not really a technique. I would tell you to close your ears to what they're saying because they don't know what they're talking about. Tools have been the way for centuries. Leonardo, Picasso, they have all used tools to perfect the skills in drawing. They wouldn't be where they are if they hadn't used these tools, like projection cameras, even. You name it, they've used some significant tools that they could find in that time. And now we have digital tools. We have far more capability to make drawings that wasn't possible 10, 20 years ago. Far more capable, and it allows everyone to draw easily. So why not just start drawing, yeah? Just do this kind of drawing. It's better than, well, I mean, you can take a break from socializing on the phone and do something creative. I think it's more fun, or playing games. Alright, you can see that I am picking out colors, and the colors will be closely resembling the colors of that reference image, and then I'm just laying down colors to my canvas. Yeah, that's all I'm doing. And you'll find that in steps 3, 4, our brush size will increase because the image has taken on to a level that allows us to go to the next step. Fingers. And you can see why the phone, even though it's smaller screen, your drawing will be even better than what you do, and trust me, even on a letter size, because I do happen to also create photorealistic drawings with Paintology, and you'll see them on the YouTube channel. So just fill it in, just fill, and just keep picking the color picker. These regions, what am I doing here? Well, look, I'm seeing the similar regions here, and then I'm picking the color picker to make sure I pick these regions. Yeah, look, that's all I'm doing. Confining my block coloring to the region that I feel that I can add the tones. That's what it is, the tones. And you've probably heard about tones in drawing, but it hasn't been explained with anything like real practical sense. Maybe the sphere, you've seen the sphere work, but in real drawings like this, you can see how tones shape a drawing. Just go across. Use your fingers. Your fingers are fast. Right? There's a blue tone, so we can just get that blue tone down on those black tones here. This is the side of the mountain. Right, let's see where we are on that. Oh, that's getting better, isn't it? So we just need, you see, we've reached a step and you know right away what needs to be addressed, right? That's what I'm talking about when going from one step to another in a drawing. And then you'll see after I've done this, that I'll move to the, you might have seen some really good artists on YouTube like Michael James. I think he does oil and he does photorealistic oil paintings. He applies this similar technique of laying down the colors first and then magically goes through the process of creating the details. Very similar. Everything is really similar. There's nothing unique. Well, unique is the sense that you build these techniques. You're building your own techniques of how far you can take this drawing to wow a particular group of people, right, with your skills. And many artists do that with their photorealism and hyperrealism. Remember that the colors are from the reference image, so even if I'm going over colors that I've done, it doesn't pick that color up unless you're in this, okay? So the color is always from the reference image. And you'll notice that as I'm drawing this, I shift away from the reference image to my drawing more because I'm trying to tailor my drawing to look like the real thing. Alright, where are we now? Okay, we've drawn this mountain. Excellent, yeah, isn't it? And we're at 9%, 10%. Now you might think, well, what else to do? Well, I can see on the tip of the mountain onto the left here as well. We need to keep going, yeah? So let's just do that, just do for completion before we get down to some tinier details. And that's picked up the lovely tones of the drawing, okay, here as well. Some gaps we saw. Okay, some more here. And then the mountainside here. Okay, let's see where we are now. Yes, we got, and then we could probably just for the sake of completion, we can fill this up, right? Remember, I used a chalk brush, but you're free to use any other brush. I'm doing this so you can see how the drawing changes and your mind automatically will now gear itself for the next round of the drawing pass. That's essentially what the drawing process is about, and many don't fully appreciate it. Okay, here you can see that bit. Alright, look at that, it's going already. Now you can almost make out that that is definitely a mountain. I'm going to show you how to add the details as we go, and let's fill that in. You can see you're always looking for directions for the next step. If you don't have directions, you're going to stop on your tracks. And if you don't know what you're going to do, you're going to stop on your tracks and say, throw your arms up in the air and say, that's it. That's all I can do. So that's why you need to really follow this and understand because you're a beginner. And beginners, to be a beginner in a drawing means that you're in a very fickle position where you can continue or you can give up. This is a very carefully treaded path. And the reason why I want you to give up for the proper reasons and not for the wrong reasons, like most people have a tendency to conclude, not talented, I haven't got it, I ain't got it. That's totally wrong. You should say that you don't want to pursue this. You don't want to put time behind it, and therefore you're giving up. Don't try and say anything that will be a little not true to what is the case, and that because that means you'll apply this to more or less any other skills. You give up too easily. So here you are. And if you think you can't draw, if you think you need special skills, think again. Because this way of drawing gets you to a place where you've probably never gone before. You'll be amazed. So I'm just filling in these blanks white, sharp white that came in. Right, that's all I'm doing. Filling in the smaller areas that I didn't get to. This is a lot of area to cover, isn't it? I just want to see what that looks like. I just want to take you through the process. Color picker, fill these blanks, these white. See that? There's white stuff. Look, it's already taking on a new shape, isn't it? Now, what you can do is you can, while you've still got that brush, remember we used a larger brush? Why don't we add more detail to look what we're doing. Picking out, you're going to see a different type sky now. What are we doing here? Just look at it. I'm seeing tones here with that smaller brush and basically creating that tone. Right, look at that dark tone. I'm going to go over it because I got the smaller brush. And then the thing is, you may get confused with your drawing and then the reference because you're in a different position, but don't. Just you'll see what the underlying tone is of the sky. The reason I'm picking retaining this larger brush size is that you could go really into the detail. When you go into the details like this, you're moving towards a method of hyperrealism. And to me, hyperrealism isn't really artistry of art techniques. It's just really as many people would call it, a pixel by pixel. But it certainly has a wow factor, isn't it? Because I could do this and go bit by bit. It's not going to teach you much. It's going to just teach you how to render something with the exact perfect. What they do is they go and look at a region, select the colors, the tones. That's all they're doing, finding out the tones that they need to apply, and spot tones that area, that region. Move to the next region and do the same thing. This is not my method of drawing, and the reason why I don't do that is because I want to produce artwork quickly, rapidly, develop my skills so I can get on with doing more artwork. So what I'm doing is following these tones, and look, my acute sense of the tones increase, and I'm following the line of the clouds, right? Look at that, the colors change because I was using a different, bigger line brush. This picked up all the tones in that region with a thicker line brush. But now I'm basically just moving my finger to areas and then minimizing the region, like zooming into a region that the eye will be a little bit fooled and won't be able to see that blockiness with the bigger brush. It has to now see little details that I'm adding to, that I'm now applying. Just simply small details. And if we're happy with that, we could probably leave the sky like that, or we could improve it. It depends. Alright, let's see what it looks like. Look at that. That sky's definitely taken on a new shape, hasn't it? Because of the smaller brush. Now just extend that. So this is, I've shown you the essence of what hyperrealism is. It's basically that down to microscopic level. So you can see, with a smaller brush, don't spread too much out, don't extend too far out. Alright, so now we've done that, we can say, well, we got the same brush, so we don't really want to use the same size brush that we use for the mountains. So let's take that notch down, maybe 5%, half of that. And let's get down to the details here, the same way as we did the sky. Okay, this color picker to pick out that tones. This is really helping you appreciate tones, and at the same time making your drawing much more nicer, easier, improving your drawing strokes. It's really fun drawing with the fingers, I have to admit. That's a black tone. Look at that, there's a black tone there. Tones, tones, okay, tones, different tones. Look how the tones change. Look at that, the tones. Look, you may not see there's a variation in the tone, but that's what gives it depth. And then these, you might think, well, what are these little tiny dark streaks? If we zoom out and we feel that we need to add those, we can zoom in, isn't it? Add that texture. It's entirely under our control. So we've done the left side. So now we can maybe move to the right side so I can show you what that looks like here. Right side of the mountain. Let's go here. Get rid of these choppiness. So now we're gonna, don't be afraid to go to the sky as well. We're not, because we're building up the details of those exact colors. That's all we're doing, is building up. Building up the tones. These are all tones, and tones is the easiest way to learn through this. Images, real image, consists of thousands, millions of tones. And as an artist, we have to render that. That's why oil paintings are so easy, because they can render the tones with oil painting by mixing the oil paint, right? But we're not doing mixing because we've got another feature which they didn't have, the zoom facility, which allows us to get down to the tiny details, and the reason why I can make photorealistic drawings on the phone. Tones, there you are, tones, other tones. Again, add your color. Let's see what it looks like. Can you see how it's shaping up? It's amazing, isn't it? Just a little bit of effort. Look, it's all shaping up. Now, if you had not reached this stage, you would not know how to go to the next stage. If you are a beginner, you'd think, I need to go from A to B in one go. And you can't. I mean, you can if you go through the hyper-realistic method of no artistry, just pixel by pixel. Or if you want to learn art and appreciate art for what it is, then doing it in this way, applying your techniques you learn and then just going through that. Yeah, techniques from, you want to learn techniques. You don't want to be like some people say, like a printer, do you? When it comes to this, there's a lot of debate on that subject. I won't get into it. But it is, the point is, if you draw like this, you can achieve photorealism. And you'll be surprised, even without any drawing experience, how you manage to achieve photorealism. Look, I'm just going, the areas look like this brown here, but I put the brown here. You can see the color I picked up. That's fill these colors. Yeah, just fill them with your fingers. Don't worry the size or anything like that. Just as because you're zooming in now and you're using a smaller brush, refine those tone differences that with the smaller brush that you didn't get with the larger brush because you extended that tones, right? This time you're now focused on the tone values in a smaller region, and it just makes sense. You're gonna get a better rendition. The best thing is to try it. I mean, I can go on the subject, but really, you need to try it. Do it by hand. So much easier. I'm not even drawing. I'm just basically looking at tones. Tones. That's all. Just finding different variations in the tones and also the gaps I've left in the white region as I'm doing now. Let's see. Look. It's getting so much better, isn't it? Look at that orange mark. See the orange mark I've got there? Here we can address that. Zoom in. This is, when we're zooming at 740%, you can imagine how big. That's like zooming in into a A3 paper, isn't it? So we'll get closer to our drawing once you get a little bit better. Look at that here, because we used. Okay, see how we're sort of compensating for any. So now you can see I'm switching between. I'm sort of sliding and seeing. We've missed that bit out. Okay, so we got this. I'll save it. All right, so now let's look at it and see where we want to go next. Um, I can see lots of areas that we can improve, and we can keep going. And then because we still haven't covered the whole region with the smaller brush, and you can see now, yeah, there are areas here that you need to address. So you can do it two ways. You can either pick the color picker of your canvas. So you pick the color picker of the adjacent areas and fill that in. Okay. Right. I'm just picking the color picker of the adjacent areas and just filling the little tidy whites, and you can check to see how much you need to bring in. The blue needs to go in there. Then you can continue. If you're very close by, you can continue to use that blue color. No biggie, because that seems to work well in that area, because they seem to be a range of blues and blacks. So that will speed up your drawing. I'm always looking at the way to speed up drawing, you know. There, look at that there. Okay. Just using the black. Just oh, doing that. Have a look to see what that looks like, and then pick the colors that you think. Yeah, this will add texture. You'll be amazed at how the texture is created without really applying anything blurring or blending. Well, look, that's a dark blue. See how that sort of leaves some of that black to create that texture, yeah? That's how you create texture. Now you can see that black is darker than what I have there, and I'm continuously using it. Okay, here we can address this here. Look at the original. And then use your finger to get effect to create the texture there. Look at that, creating that texture. Giving the illusion of something there, isn't it? Gives that illusion. There now here, something. And of course we can sort of reduce the brush if we need to. But right now what I'm doing is just learning how to sort of blend in the same way, creating the mountain texture, the solid textures that are formed, and then keep looking at it and pick a different color, add dimension to it. Don't go over the same, otherwise you're blocking out. And you know, I feel like I need to go to a smaller brush. As of yet, I'm not. Creating the illusion of mountain slopes. Keep the illusion, yeah? Alright, let's have a look. It's looking better, isn't it? And let's go here. We can see that we need to address something here. Then what do we have here? Again, we have a different colors going on here, right? Following the strokes. So we can go down to the details if we need to, but for now, let's follow the sky. Okay, so we can round it off. That's the mountain, part of the mountain, not the sky. Easily done. And then we just want to shape the sky to see that it's more rounded. Okay, it's taking more, and then the apex. Now the apex. Now look at it, and right away, as soon as your eyes tell you, yeah, you got to address that, just go for it, you know. And my eyes tell me this apex is one of the features. Let me save. Apex is one of the features of the mountain side. We need to get that right. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it down. Still take it down 2%, and then I'm going to pick the color picker and then move to see if I've then get that color of that sky really defined. Okay. Look at that, it's very sharp. And then you can see it's got that apex. You gotta get that right, isn't it? The apex of the mountain. So spend a few more minutes doing the apex. Then we have this nice yellow. And then we have this forming the edges. Look at that. All right. Let's see how the mount apex looks. Oh, much better, isn't it? I would say. Look at that. That looks pretty good. Now you can see that because we've arrived at this stage, all these little areas that we need to address. Right, we could just fill it up. No big deal. Use the color picker, stay on your side, and still keep to the same brush or increase it a little bit so you can work faster. Oops. I picked up the white, as you can see. Right now, because we did the orange, just fill it in, right? Nothing, just fill it in. Oops, I picked the orange again. Very easy to do. I mean the white. Oh, again, I picked the white because the thing is, I have a tendency to use of course, the color picker. Now let's see what that looks like. Okay, we've got a bit of a dark going on here. So let's give that little bit of shape, right? No. And then here, what have we got here? It's very phased out, isn't it? Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's much better, isn't it? What is that? These rings are sort of confusing me. So now that we've got a smaller brush, we can get these rings that are almost saying an alien has taken over this. Let's just diffuse that, that ring that's sort of bothering me, and pick up the colors. Right. Oh, this can even go smaller, I think, to match. Basically, to match. So since I've got the yellow, I need to get that shape. So notice what I've done. Get the shape and just put that down and get some red, if there is a bit of red. It's the texture, just creating textures, nothing else. That's what the image looks like, isn't it? Creating textures. Look, this is the way, if you want now to create textures, this is what I'm doing. I'm not blending or anything. You could not possibly do this with tools, digital tools. All right. So, oh, we've got a blue there. See, then we've got it. Right. We probably take and diffuse that, the alien object, right? That seemed alien. Let's see if we've diffused it. Because it was like a nice crop circle. I mean, it would look like a crop circle, doesn't it? Here. Same thing. Use the black to break that up. You don't know what the shape is or what it is, what it's doing, but the idea is to just give it a form of texture. All right, let's have a look. Better, isn't it? Much better. So now we can still see this, still these round red. Where's the red? That sticks out like a sore thumb. So again, the same thing. Look at it. Get a darker tone, like this one here, and then just break it up. Look, texture. You got running slopes, and then you're just creating the texture. Beautiful, isn't it? And now you can pick a black color. If you haven't, just pick it on the tones and just go for it again. This adds more depth, like it's not one flat color. Right, that's a lovely thing, isn't it? There, crevice, some kind of a crevice, but let's create that. Right, doesn't have to be exact. And then we have this going into that. Break that up because it's too. Just break it up. Add a little bit of highlight. Then pick these colors that's already been picked up before. And look. Okay, let's see what it looks like. We remove that ring, and we have almost, haven't we? Yes. But we still have that ring of orange going through. And how do we get rid of that? Again, darker color. Let's pick a dark color. Okay. Then we're just going to keep breaking that up. Following the shape. Okay. Okay. Just following the shape. Notice I'm not using the hardness density or anything, but I might do, when I come to towards the last remaining steps. Look, just break that down. Break that down. Look at the image. And as you're drawing it, break it down. These are black shapes. Right? Look at that. This way you are learning these tiny little details that make up photorealistic drawings. And if you want to do photorealistic drawings, look how far we've come here. And you can ask yourself, there's still that brownish, we've seen that tinge, the brownish tinge. Oh, there, yeah, you notice that I've got brown and it's white, yellow. So we need to break that down, play with that. Mate, how did that go? But leave some of that brown. It gives the texture, illusion of texture. Let's play with this a little bit, not just a streak of snow all the way down, but break it down. It's beautiful. Done here. Still using the fingers, I hope you are. Look at the way we broke that down with the smaller line brush. Break it down. And as you do that, break down the choppiness. That's what I meant. As you do that, you're adding depth with another color. If you add one color, it's blocky. If you add two colors, some dimension to it. If you add 3, 4, 5, you continue to build a bit of texture as well as which angle these lines cross. Okay. Now you can see there's a shadow, dark shadow falling. Right. Along the side. That is lovely, isn't it? You have to admit, that is lovely. As you keep drawing, you're beginning to see more and more shapes forming. And this is not quite like you could make sure you do a crevice of some kind, perhaps. Look, and then the blacks come in. Look, pick the black. They come in at the bottom, the foot. Just follow the shape, nothing more. And follow look, follow the shape. Look at that. There's lots of different interesting shapes. So you're just going to go crazy. Just scribble, add textures. Look, just keep adding. Using my fingers and looking at the original image. All right, where are we? Oh, not too bad. Now you can see that the white face so prominent. So the light hitting the mountain, and now you can see all kinds of improvements you can make to this drawing, and then I can just keep going. And but you can see how far we got just by putting on, just focusing on the tones, how the tones are shaped, following the stroke of the tonal colors, like the sky horizontal, and the mountain has needed more details because it's more pronounced, and and compared to the sky, which is hazy, and then there's the foreground. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to carry on with this, and if you have any questions, please do comment. And also, because I appreciate the comments, it helps me to understand if I'm providing the right tutorial or lesson, or if I've missed something which you need to know more about. Please feel free to ask these questions, and it's not difficult to draw with digital and on your phone. Instead of being wowed by so many other people, why don't you wow yourself? Yeah, this was took little minimal effort, over an hour, and then I'm gonna probably work another half an hour before I finish this, and then I will put it online, and hope to see you for another session perhaps tomorrow. Thank you, and see you again. Bye.